The war had been going on for 300 years. The Empire attacked the Allied coalition every single day. Planets fell one after another. Billions of beings died. The coalition tried everything to stop them, but nothing worked. Admirals sat in the war room deep underground. Lights showed battles happening across space. Red lights meant territory. Blue lights meant coalition territory. Every day, more red appeared and less blue remained. Was human. He came from Earth. Even he thought the coalition might lose this war. Secretary walked into the room. She had not slept in 3 days. Her eyes were red. Her face was very tired. She had been talking to other alien species, trying to get them to send more ships and soldiers to fight the... All of them said no. All of them believed the coalition would fail. Nobody will help, said. They will not send more ships. They will not send soldiers. Everyone thinks we are going to lose. Looked at the map. Red covered half the space now. Blue covered less and less. He was a military man. He understood tactics and strategy. Everything told him the war was already lost. But something inside him said otherwise. What do humans do when everyone says we will fail? Asked. Thought about this. She thought about human history. She thought about how humans had fought each other on Earth for thousands of years. She thought about how humans always got up when knocked down. She thought about how humans never stopped trying. Humans keep fighting, said. Humans never give up. Even when it is hopeless, humans keep going. Nodded, he walked to the communication machine. He sent messages to Earth. The distance was very far. Light took hours to travel between the two planets, so the answer took many hours to come back. Commander was in charge of Earth's military. She received message. She read it carefully. She understood what was asking. She understood that the coalition might lose without human help. She also understood that this might be humanity's chance to become important in the galaxy. She made a decision. Send every ship we have, said. Send every soldier, send every weapon. We will help the coalition win this war. Messages flew back to Earth was sending 217 military ships. These ships carried 40,000 soldiers. They carried weapons made by human engineers. They carried hope. The news spread through the coalition like fire. Humans were coming, the species that nobody knew much about. The young race that had only joined the coalition a few years ago. They were sending their entire military force. In the Warship Command Center, the crystal-like being named heard about human involvement. He did not worry. He looked at the human ships on his sensors. They were slow compared to ships. They were weak compared to weapons. Humans did not have shields that could stop laser fire. Humans did not have engines that could jump between stars instantly. Was confused about why the coalition thought humans could help. They had the best technology in the galaxy. They had been winning for 300 years. 200 human ships would not change anything. He was wrong about this, very wrong. The human ships arrived after 2 days of travel through space. They entered the battle zone near station. The station was a giant structure in space. It served as the coalition's main military base in this region. They had been attacking it for 3 weeks. The shields were failing. The weapons were running low on ammunition. The station would fall within days. Stood on the human flagship. It was called the USS Lincoln. It was smaller than the biggest ships. It was slower. It had fewer weapons, but it had something that did not have. It had a human captain who could think on his feet. It had a crew that would do anything to win. All ships listen to me, said into the radio. His voice went to every single human military vessel. They think we are weak. They think we will be easy to kill. They are wrong. We have fought on worlds where the weather tried to kill us. We have fought against enemies with better weapons and armor. We have always found a way to win. Today will not be different. We will attack their supply lines. We will hit them where they are weak. We will not fight them the way they expect. We will fight them the way that works. The battle started fast. Human ships did not fly in straight lines. They did not use the tactics that military computers expected. They flew in patterns that looked crazy. They moved in ways that made no sense on paper. But these movements confused the weapons. The computer systems tried to predict where human ships would be. The humans were never where the computers thought they would be. Human pilots were doing something that fighters had never seen before. They were taking big risks. They pushed their ships beyond safe limits. They used emergency power. They made split-second decisions that no computer could copy. When a human pilot saw a chance to hurt the enemy, they took it. They did not calculate probabilities. They just did it. The supply ships were the first to die. Humans found them and destroyed them. Ammunition trucks exploded. Food shipments burned. Fuel containers leaked into space and were wasted. The suddenly did not have enough supplies to continue fighting. Watched this happen on his screens. He saw the fleet getting weaker and weaker. He saw their weapons stop firing because they ran out of ammunition. He saw their shields fail because they ran low on power. They had never planned for this kind of war. They had always been too strong. They had never had to worry about supplies. But now they had to worry. Now the humans were teaching them a hard lesson. By the end of the first hour of battle, they had lost 20% of their supply fleet. By the end of the second hour, they had lost 40%. The commander made a big mistake. He decided to attack all the human ships with everything he had. He thought if he could kill the humans quickly, he could stop this problem. But this was exactly what wanted him to do. The fleet flew toward the human ships. They fired their big weapons. The human ships scattered and dodged. Some human ships got hit. Some human ships exploded. Humans died in those explosions. But the human fleet kept attacking. They kept moving. They kept hitting the enemy. Watched everything from Earth. She sat in the war room far away. She saw her soldiers die. She saw her ships burn. But she also saw the fleet getting smaller and smaller. She understood that this sacrifice meant something. This sacrifice meant a chance for peace. This sacrifice meant a chance for the coalition to win. The battle was not finished yet, but already something had changed in the galaxy. And by the third hour of fighting, the fleet was in serious trouble. Half of their big supply ships were destroyed or captured. The remaining soldiers did not have enough food or water. The weapons systems were running low on power. The ships could not fight as hard as before. Made his next move. He sent a second wave of human ships toward the fleet. These ships were smaller and faster. They carried human pilots who had trained for years. These pilots flew their ships into the most dangerous places. They flew between enemy laser beams. They flew under the big weapons. They flew in ways that made the defense systems confused and angry. One human ship called the USS Hayes was flying very close to a destroyer. The destroyer was firing weapons at the Hayes. But the Hayes was moving so fast and so crazy that every shot missed. The human pilot on the Hayes was named Captain David Moore. He was from Texas on Earth. He had been a fighter pilot in the human military for 20 years. David did not follow normal flying rules. He pushed his ship beyond what it was supposed to do. He made his engines burn hotter. He made his shields work harder. He made his weapons fire faster. And he did things no pilot would ever try. He turned his ship at angles that should have torn it apart. But David's ship held together because human engineers had built it strong. "Come on," David said to his crew. "Let's show them how humans fight." David's ship fired weapons at point-blank range. The destroyer's shields cracked. The destroyer started losing power. David pulled his ship away and flew toward the next target. This was happening all over the battle zone. Human pilots were doing things that seemed impossible. They were taking their ships to the limit. They were risking their lives to hurt the enemy. Some humans died. The USS Phoenix was hit by a laser beam. It exploded into 1,000,000 pieces of metal. All 400 people on that ship died in an instant. The loss hurt every human who saw it, but it made them fight even harder. Other coalition forces saw what the humans were doing. They saw humans pushing forward even when it was dangerous. They saw humans refusing to surrender or give up. This gave them hope. They launched a big attack from the left side. They sent their fighters to hit the ships. They who had been running away for months suddenly started fighting back. The fleet was falling apart. The commander still did not want to retreat, believed they were the strongest species in the galaxy. They believed they could not be beaten, but now they were being beaten. The humans were doing things that no computer had predicted. The humans were making choices that no logic system could explain. Made a final decision. He would send every remaining ship at the human fleet. He would crush them with numbers and power. He would make them pay for every inch of space they tried to take. Budden had already expected this move. Formation Delta, ordered through the radio. Every human ship changed position at the same time. They moved like they were one giant being instead of 200 separate ships. When the fleet attacked, they found no easy targets. They found no ships sitting still where they could be hit. All they found was humans coming at them from every direction. The battle became even more violent. Ships crashed into each other. Weapons fired constantly. The space around station became filled with fire and explosions and death. But the humans did not stop. They did not pull back. They did not retreat when things got hard. A human soldier named Lieutenant Sarah Johnson was in a fighter plane. She was flying toward a cruiser. The cruiser was trying to escape. Sarah chased it. Her weapons were almost empty. Her fuel was almost gone, but she did not care. Sarah fired her last missiles. One of them hit the cruiser. The cruiser's engine stopped working. It stopped moving. It became a dead ship floating in space. "Got you," Sarah said quietly. By the end of the 4th hour, the fleet had lost 60% of its ships. The remaining commanders understood that they could not win. They understood that their technology did not matter anymore. They understood that these humans would not stop until they were all dead. Sent the order. All ships retreat, jump to hyperspace, leave this sector. The remaining ships turned away from the battle. They started their jump engines. In moments they were gone. The battle was over. The coalition had won. Sat in his captain's chair. He was shaking, not from fear but from the weight of command. He had just sent 217 ships into battle. He had lost 23 ships. Nearly 10,000 humans had died. The celebration on station lasted for 3 days. Beings from every species in the coalition came to honor the humans. They brought gifts. They brought songs. They brought tears of joy and relief. But did not celebrate. Instead, he visited the human medical ships. These ships were filled with wounded soldiers. Some had lost arms or legs. Some had burns covering their bodies. Some would never walk again or see with both eyes. One soldier was named Williams. He was from California on Earth. He had lost his right leg below the knee when his fighter ship crashed, sat next to his medical bed. "How do you feel?" asked. "I will heal," said, "and I will fight again. I do not care if I have to use a fake leg. I will come back." This was the human spirit that confused the aliens. Humans could take damage that would make other species quit, but humans kept going. Humans wanted to come back and fight again. Humans wanted to hurt the enemy more than they wanted to protect themselves. Walked through the medical ship for hours. He talked to every human soldier who was awake. He listened to their stories. He thanked them for their sacrifice. An engineer named was fixing a damaged water system on the station. Her hands were burned. Her clothes were torn from explosions, but she kept working. She had to get the water system fixed. Her comrades needed clean water. "Stop working and go to medical," told her. "I will go after the waterworks," said. "My team needs this." Understood this. This was what humans did. They thought about the group before themselves. They suffered so others would be okay. The Galactic Council requested a meeting on the biggest space station. All the important leaders came, walked into the Great Hall. Hundreds of alien beings stared at him. Some were big, some were small, some had skin, some were made of crystal or metal or energy itself. An old named elder spoke first. "You have done what we could not do in 300 years, elder said. "You have turned back the invasion. You have given us hope. Tell us, how did humans accomplish this in 4 hours? How did you defeat an enemy that we could not beat in centuries?" Stood tall, he thought about his answer carefully. "They are very advanced," said. "Their ships are beautiful and strong. Their weapons are powerful, but they forgot something important. They forgot that technology is just a tool. What matters is the being using the tool. What matters is how hard that being will fight. What matters is how much that being is willing to sacrifice." An alien from the species asked, "Are humans stronger then?" "No," answered. "We are not stronger. We do not have better weapons. We do not have faster ships, but we come from a world that is hard and dangerous. On Earth, the weather tries to kill us. The animals try to eat us. The land tries to crush us. So humans learn to be tough. We learn to never give up. We learn that there is no such thing as impossible." The council listened. They understood that was telling them something true and important. A representative from the species spoke. "What will humans want in return for your help? Will you want territory? Will you want riches? Will you want control of star systems?" Smiled slightly. "We will want what we have always wanted. We want a place to live. We want safety for our families. We want the chance to build a good future. We do not need to rule galaxies. We only need to protect what is ours." This answer shocked the council. They expected humans to be greedy like many other species, but only wanted basic things. He wanted his people to be safe. The council voted. Every single member voted to make humans an equal partner in the coalition. Humans would get resources to build bigger fleets. Humans would get training from other species. Humans would get a seat in the council. But more important than any of this was respect. The other species now understood that humans were dangerous, not because of weapons or technology, but because of will. Humans had the will to fight and win. Humans had the will to sacrifice, and that will was more powerful than any machine. The news spread across the galaxy. They heard that humans had almost destroyed their fleet. They heard that humans would not surrender. They heard that humans were willing to die rather than lose. The leadership began to worry. In their war room, the leaders made a decision. Fighting humans was different from fighting other species. Humans were unpredictable. Humans made decisions that did not make logical sense. Humans were willing to take huge risks. The Empire realized something terrible. If they kept fighting, humans would keep coming. And humans would keep fighting and dying until they were all gone. They did not want to die. They did not want their entire species to end. The peace treaty was signed in the Great Hall of the Coalition Center. The place was decorated with symbols from every species. They came to the signing with their crystal-like bodies reflecting the light. The Coalition members came ready to finally have peace. Stood in the hall, he watched as the leaders of both sides wrote their names on the peace document. This was the moment everything changed. This was the moment the war ended. A leader named or approached after the signing, or was tall. His body was made of clear crystal. When light went through him, it made rainbow colors. "You defeated us," Or said, "but you did not try to destroy our entire species. You did not ask for our territory. You did not ask for revenge. Why?" Thought about this question. He thought about the humans who died in the battle. He thought about their families waiting on Earth for them to come home. He thought about all the soldiers and civilians who had died in 300 years of war. "Because killing does not fix anything," said simply. "Death does not bring peace. Only stopping the killing can bring peace. We fought because we had to protect the coalition. We stopped fighting because the fighting was over. That is what humans understand about war. Sometimes you must fight. But when the fighting is over, it is over. You do not keep hatting. You do not keep hurting. You stop and you build something new." Or was quiet for a long time. Then he did something shocking. He extended his hand to. On his world, this was a sign of respect and friendship. Took his hand. Human soldiers began leaving the war zone. The coalition gave them ships to take them home. But before they went, something amazing happened. Other species came to say goodbye to the humans. A commander gave a medal made of rare metal. An engineer gave him a weapon that was beautiful to look at. And warrior gave him a knife that had been in his family for 1,000 years. All of these gifts meant that the other species respected humans now. They saw humans as equals. They saw humans as warriors and protectors. Was on the human ship leaving the sector. Her burned hands were healing. She would have scars for the rest of her life. But she did not care. She had earned these scars protecting people she cared about. Sarah Johnson sat in the fighter plane called the Valkyrie. She was flying back to Earth. She had killed 3 ships during the battle. She had lost 2 friends to laser fire. She did not smile, but she held her head high. She knew she had done something important. Williams was on the medical ship heading to Earth. His right leg was gone. Human doctors were making him a new leg that he would control with his mind. The technology was from Earth. It was not as advanced as what aliens had, but it would work, and would be walking again within 6 months. David Moore arrived at Earth in the USS Lincoln. The ship was damaged. The hull showed burn marks from laser fire. The shields were weak, but the ship had survived, and David had survived. He walked out of the ship and saw blue sky for the first time in months. He felt rain on his face. It was cold and wet and felt like peace. Met him at the landing site. She put her hand on his shoulder. "You did good work out there," said. "The whole world is proud of you." "I did what I had to do," David said. "But I am glad it is over. I am glad to be home." The news spread across Earth. Humans had gone to space. Humans had fought aliens. Humans had won. Every person on Earth knew about the battle near station. Children learned about it in school. Artists made paintings of human fighter ships. Musicians wrote songs about human soldiers. But did not want to be famous. He wanted to understand what had happened. He wanted to learn from the battle so humans could be ready for whatever came next. He called a meeting with the top human military leaders. They sat in a room in the middle of the night. No cameras were there, no reporters, just humans talking about what they had learned. "We won because we were desperate," said. "We won because we had nothing to lose, but that cannot be our strategy forever. Next time we need to be better prepared. We need to train harder. We need to think bigger." A general named Stone nodded. "We also won because they did not understand us. They did not understand that humans do not think like machines. They could not predict what we would do because we do not always do logical things. We do what is necessary. We do what is right. Sometimes these are not the same." Another leader named Colonel James Parker added, "But we also lost a lot of people. Nearly 10,000 humans died. That is too many. We need to find ways to win with fewer losses." The meeting lasted until morning. When the sun came up, the human leaders had a plan. They would build a bigger military. They would train more pilots. They would create new weapons. They would prepare humans to be a real power in the galaxy. But they would not change what made humans special. They would not stop being willing to sacrifice. They, 6 months after the war ended, returned to Earth for the first time as a military hero. His ship landed in San Francisco. Thousands of people came to see him. They cheered and shouted his name, felt strange about all this attention. He had only done his job, but he understood that the people of Earth needed to celebrate. They needed to believe in something good after hearing about death and war. An old woman came up to after the landing. She was crying. Her name was Mary Williams. She was William's mother. "Is my son alive?" she asked. "Please tell me he is alive." "He is alive," said. "He is on another ship arriving in 2 days. He lost his leg, but he will walk again. He is a brave man." Mary Williams fell to her knees and cried, not tears of sadness, but tears of relief and joy. Her son was coming home. Visited every family that had lost someone in the war. He sat with them. He told them stories about their loved ones. He made sure they knew that their sacrifice meant something. He made sure they knew that the person who died had made a difference in the galaxy. A young girl named Sophie asked, "Was my father brave?" "Your father was very brave," said. "He died protecting millions of beings. He died so that peace could come to the galaxy. That is the bravest thing a person can do." Sophie felt a little better, but she still missed her father. She would always miss him. The world leaders of Earth held a big meeting. They decided that humans would not rest. They decided that humans would build the biggest military fleet in human history. They decided that Earth would become a real power in the galaxy. But they also decided that humans would remember the cost of war. They would build a monument to every human who died in the battle. They would teach children about sacrifice. They would never forget that freedom comes with a price. A statue was built in the middle of New York City. It showed a human soldier standing tall with weapons in his hand. But his face was not angry or cruel. His face showed strength and sadness at the same time. The statue said, "They fought so we could be free." Engineers and scientists began working on new ships. These ships would be bigger and faster than the ships that fought the. These ships would have weapons that could fight the most advanced aliens. But humans would make sure these weapons were only used to protect peace, not to hurt innocent beings. Was promoted to Supreme Commander of all human military forces. She was responsible for protecting Earth and helping the coalition when they needed help. "We have a responsibility now," told her officers. "We showed the galaxy that humans are strong. Now we have to show them that we are also fair. We have to show them that humans protect the weak. We have to show them that power means something only if you use it to do good." The years after the war were busy. Humans learned from alien species. Humans built new technology. Humans trained better soldiers, but humans also did something the aliens had not expected. Humans shared what they learned with other species. Humans taught aliens how to think like humans. Humans explained why courage and sacrifice were important. Some aliens did not understand this. They thought humans were weak because humans were willing to die for others. But most aliens began to understand. They saw that humans had something special. They saw that human values made humans stronger, not weaker. Lived a long life. He became the head of the coalition's entire military. But he never forgot where he came from. He never forgot Earth. He never forgot the soldiers who died fighting the. When he was very old, he wrote a book about the war. The book was called When Humans Joined the War, the Day Everything Changed. In this book, explained how humans won with less technology but more heart. He explained how courage was stronger than machines. He explained how humans had taught the galaxy an important lesson. The lesson was simple. It was that the strongest power in the universe was not a weapon. The strongest power was the will of a being who was willing to die for something they believed in. The strongest power was a person who would never surrender. The strongest power was love and protection for others. On his last day alive, he stood on a balcony looking at the stars. He thought about all the humans who had died in the war. He thought about all the aliens who had died too. He thought about peace. He thought about how good it was to have peace after so much war. A young human officer came and stood next to him. The officer's name was Lisa. She was the great-great-granddaughter of. "What are you thinking about, sir?" Lisa asked. "I am thinking about how lucky we are," said. "We had the chance to change the galaxy. We had the chance to show everyone what humans could do, and we did it. We were not the strongest. But we were the most willing to fight for what mattered." "Do you regret anything?" Lisa asked. Thought about this question for a long time. He thought about all the people who died. He thought about all the pain and suffering. He thought about the families that were broken by war. "I regret that war was necessary," finally said. "But I do not regret what we did. We saved the coalition. We saved billions of lives, and we taught the galaxy that humans are important. We taught them that humans matter. That is worth anything." Died peacefully that night. The whole galaxy mourned him. They sent a ship to carry his body with honor. They sang songs about his courage. They created a monument to him in their biggest city. But would have wanted something different. He would have wanted people to remember the soldiers who fought with him. He would have wanted people to honor the people who died. He would have wanted the galaxy to remember that peace was more important than power. And so the galaxy did remember. Every year on the day of the final battle, all species celebrated peace. They told the story of how humans came to space. They told the story of how humans fought with courage and heart. They told the story of how humans changed everything in just 4 hours. The story was true. The story was powerful, and the story would be told for thousands of years. Long after all the people involved had died, beings would still tell the story of when humans joined the war and ended it. Because that story taught an important lesson. It taught that courage matters. It taught that sacrifice means something. It taught that the most powerful thing in the universe is a being who will never give up. It taught that humans were special. And it taught that sometimes one species can change the entire galaxy. Earth became one of the most important worlds in the coalition. Humans became leaders and teachers and warriors. Humans built a great civilization among the stars. But they never forgot where they came from. They never forgot that they started as a young species. They never forgot that they had been underestimated. And they never forgot the soldiers who died so that peace could come. The war between the coalition and the empire lasted 300 years. It ended in just 4 hours. And it ended because humans taught the galaxy that will and courage were stronger than any machine. That lesson changed everything. That lesson made humans heroes, and that lesson will be remembered forever. Because that was what it meant to be human, and the galaxy now understood this. The galaxy now knew that humans were something new, something powerful, something that could not be predicted or controlled or stopped. 3 weeks after the battle, the Empire sent a message. They wanted to talk about peace. They were ready to stop the war. They were ready to end 300 years of fighting. The coalition accepted. The war was over, and it ended because humans showed the galaxy that some things mattered more than technology or power. Humans showed that courage and determination could change the galaxy forever. But he had won. The message came from Earth, wanted to talk to him. "Admiral," said through the communicator, "the coalition is asking for you. They want to thank you. They want to give you command of half their military forces." Did not answer right away. He thought about the humans who died today. He thought about their families on Earth who would never see them again. "Tell them yes," finally said. "But tell them something else too. Tell them humans do not fight because we are strong. We fight because we protect what we love. We fight for our families. We fight for freedom. And we will never stop fighting as long as there is breath in our bodies." Yeo power had entered the war, and that new power was not going to stop until the fell or the fighting ended. Earth had sent its sons and daughters to space, and those humans were showing the galaxy what they could do. The commander finally began to understand. These humans were not advanced. Their ships were not beautiful or perfect. But the humans had something they did not have. The humans had the ability to keep fighting even when it was hard. The humans had the will to win even when the odds were against them. And that, the commander realized too late, might be enough to change everything.